All right, Shalom. This is Gamali Allah out of Great Millstone, Atlanta. I want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the Akinab pushing out this truth and sincerity. It's a quick lesson, and this is going to be entitled China is a Test Run. All right, and as you see, this is an article off of blacklistednews.com. It says, Why China Sucks. It's a beta test for the New World Order. All right, which I'll just go ahead and dive right into it. It says, I'm going to skip down because this is a pretty lengthy article. So I'm just going to get the hot points. But it says the Chinese government sent hazmat-clad troops to put down the rebellion while stumping protesters into the ground. Take note and remember this video when you hear about Apple's hostility to Elon Musk's free speech policies on Twitter. It says Apple loves authoritarianism, as do globalist-run corporations. It says China continues to terrorize the citizenry with secret police visits to vocal dissenters and fleets of drones hovering above the city streets, monitoring foot traffic and blaring propaganda messages. Okay, so matter of fact, I'll keep going. It says some drones even spray unknown chemicals across entire city blocks. Okay, China, in the meantime, China has fully implemented digital vaccine passport systems tied to public venues and retail stores. You cannot function in a major city, in a major Chinese city, without an up-to-date vaccine passport or a negative COVID test taken every couple of weeks. So as you see, man, this is a hell. Okay, these people are living in hell. All right, they have to have digital vaccine passports. It's got to be updated every couple weeks. All right, and you can't go to venues, you can't go to stores, all right, unless you have that. All right, so that's why there's riots and people basically, bucking up against the system. All right, now, when you read 2nd Ezra 15, it talks about this. It talks about China. Matter of fact, let's get it. All right, 2nd Ezra 15. In 16, it says, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So this is right now is happening in China, which that word sedition, all right, definition of sedition, it says conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. Okay, which China is a communist government. All right, in which the government basically has total authority. All right, but it says incitement or resistance against lawful authority. So that's what you see happening here in China. All right, it says there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. All right, so I'll keep going. It says all these events and conditions are often treated as disconnected or coincidentally associated. No one is asking the right questions. The big question being why? Why is the Chinese government sabotaging its own economy with lockdowns and oppressing the population to the point of open revolt? All right, a rarity among the normal subservient Chinese people. Yeah, and that's go to show you why it's prophecy. Because subservient, matter of fact, subservient basically means obedient. prepared to obey others unquestioningly. Okay? And that's normally how the Chinese people are. They'll usually go along with what their government will say. But now, it's prophecy because the Lord is stirring up these people's hearts. The Lord is stirring up these people's minds to where they can't take this. They can't take the BS anymore, man. Because they've been backed into a corner. And see, people, like I said, these people are born with very little freedoms. So they're used to it. But guess what? Their government has basically taken it a step way too far. All right, and people are just fed up, man. You get to a point where you get to a breaking point where you reach that last straw. That's why people are rioting. All right, it says, why keep the lockdowns going when it is clear to the rest of the world that the pandemic is over and that the lockdowns and masks never worked to begin with? Okay. I would ask CCP officials a simple question that many of us in America also asked our own government a year ago. If the vaccines work, why enforce mandates and lockdowns? If it's because the vaccines don't work, then why try to force the population to take the jab? These are critical questions, all right, and that goes to show you the hypocrisy of America. But this system, okay, the beast system that's talked about in Revelation, all right, it's the devil, all right, basically an extension of Rome, all right, which China is just really following after the beast, okay? China's really following after the whore, right? You read, let's get this. All right, let's get this real quick. Because read Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And see, China has drunken of this wine by what? The different the different technology that it's imposed on the citizens. They basically have that, and that's the nature. Like I said, this whole Big Brother and surveillance nature, they got that was influenced by the so-called white man. So that's that wine. But see, China, of course, they've already been a very technology-driven country. All right, but they have taken on the likeness of Esau by basically, spying on the citizens, basically forcing the jab. Okay. All right. It says, obviously, the CCP does not care about the well-being of the average Chinese citizen. There is no logic to anything they are doing, just as there was no logic to anything Biden, Fauci, and the CDC was doing in the U.S. The difference is Americans were able to force the globalists in the U.S. to abandon their mandate agenda likely because we are heavily armed and they are realizing too many of us are non-compliant. In China, there is no civilian militia equivalent. Yeah, so as you see, like people, that's one reason why Esau really hasn't made his move. And he's got to be careful and calculated because there are armed militias in America, all right, that are ready to basically, revolt if need be. As a matter of fact, the whole state of Texas wants to secede. It's a few other states that want to basically secede from America, and they don't want to deal they no longer want to deal with America and the federal structure. All right, but it says the country was a dystopia before. Now it is something different. And here's the point: is it is an experiment in technocratic tyranny that is being taken to the extreme. China is willing to starve, arrest, beat, and even kill people who claim they are trying to protect from the virus. All right. So this is a test run. They're seeing how people will react, okay, to tyranny. It says perhaps I'll jump down. It says perhaps it's a test to see what level of tyranny people are willing to endure. Maybe a test of functionality of different surveillance systems and control mechanisms. And of course, you know, and I always bring this out, 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Lest Satan get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So these are just devices of Satan, you know, basically testing the people, backing the people into a corner, seeing how they react. But it says maybe a practice run for the inevitable riots and rebellion that would occur in numerous countries and the best way to deal with them. All right, see that? So this is a test run. China is a model. It says it. Matter of fact, that's the spirit. It says globalists like Klaus Schwab are not only interested in China as an economic role model, he sees China as a societal role model for much of the West, with some tweaks here and there. So yeah, China's a role model. China is what they want to accomplish in the West and really all over the world. But China is a model for the New World Order. Okay, they want to create a new world, you know, with total control. That's why it says all right, it says Isaiah 14 and 14. Okay, it says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. All right, so this is basically Esau, the wicked. Esau, Edom, he wants to be like the Most High. Now, that's this implementation of this system. He's able to be like the Most High. For instance, you know, he can control everything. Right? He can basically wipe away your livelihood. You know, he can control your basically everything, your whole life. He can control, you know, your bank account, your status, and you've seen that with examples like Kanye, you know, Kanye and Kyrie Irving. You know, this devil has control over all these things, man. All right. All right, so let's see. Let's see if there's any more. All right. It says the problem for the establishment is that if there are visible examples of freedom despite COVID, then other nations will start to question the necessity for their own lockdowns. Even the Chinese people are starting to fight back. They can't implement their new world order one country at a time. They, they will have to oppress many countries at once. As I have been saying for the past year to some of more nihilistic people in the liberty movement who think all it lost, understand that you are lucky to be living in the U.S. right now and should be thankful for the millions of conservatives that actively and vocally refuse to comply with the mandates and vaccines. They saved the country from greater tyranny. Yeah, and there was a reporter, he said the ones that resisted and that spoke against these things, they're the heroes. Okay? If the globals had gotten what they wanted, what they really wanted, we would look a lot like China right now. All right. So, that's pretty much the point. Like I said, I just wanted to touch on those points, but basically China is a model for what Esau wants to accomplish. And if this place were to go on, another, you know, few years, okay, he's going to accomplish. That's why the Lord got to basically, uh, stop this devil from establishing, from filling his belly, pursuing to Job 20, because you know, like I said, a few years from now, he would. This is what it would look like. You would have basically one world system. You would have, China, China like, um, a China, a very similar system to China in the West. All right, so that was pretty much the point. I just wanted to touch on those points, bring out this article. So, Lord willing, you will edify. I'm gonna give all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Shalom.